Hey there. Ever heard of the Black Swan manslaughter case? It sounds like something right out of a movie, and honestly, it pretty much is. The name comes from Ashley, the woman at the center of it all, who was once a ballerina. Naturally, it calls to mind that haunting 2010 film Black Swan, a story of a dancer whose pursuit of perfection spirals into something much darker. The parallels here are eerie. Before we get into it, welcome to the channel. If you enjoy stories like this, don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss the next one. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment with your take on this case or even suggest other stories you'd like me to cover. Now, picture it. At first, this case felt like the opening act of a graceful ballet, all promise and beauty. But what followed exposed the stark contrast between shining aspirations and the volatile, tragic reality underneath. This wasn't just a tale of duality, it was the unraveling of a dream. Ashley, with her background as a Maryland Youth Ballet graduate and even a swimsuit model, had this absolutely grand vision. She dreamed of creating the American National Ballet, ANB. She wanted it to be this incredibly inclusive place, a real home for all kinds of dancers, the tall, the short, the unconventional ones who didn't fit the typical mold. This resonated deeply with hopeful dancers. And Doug, her husband, was completely swept up in it. He poured over $100,000 of his own money into this venture. He was described as a very serious businessman, but knew nothing about ballet. Yet he was so hopeful, so optimistic that everything would work out perfectly. Their marriage itself was a whirlwind, happening just 13 days after they first met in Florida in August 2016 during a presidential campaign. Doug, who was 54, had just lost his first wife, Renee, 9 months prior, and was a widower with a daughter, Eva. This quick marriage raised a lot of eyebrows, especially with Eva, who felt like it was a stab in the back and wasn't even invited to the wedding. Doug had even promised Eva he wouldn't remarry or have more children, making Ashley's entry into their lives particularly jarring. Ashley, then 24, and Doug bonded over conservative values and guns, and it was noted that Ashley even carried guns on her person when they met. It sounded like a new, exciting chapter, almost too good to be true. And sadly, it was. Like a tragic twist in a ballet, things started to unravel with devastating speed, revealing the darker, more turbulent side of that black swan metaphor. That beautiful idea, the ANB, crumbled within months. Dancers who had come from all over the world arrived expecting state-of-the-art facilities, shoe allowances, and regular paychecks. Instead, they found none of it. Ashley, we're told, was largely absent, bedridden, with a really difficult pregnancy. She was eventually pushed out of leadership because of her lack of it. Doug was left scrambling, trying to pay dancers out of his own pocket in cash. The company dissolved, a total failure of what seemed like such a promising, beautiful idea. But the A&B's collapse was just the beginning of the darkness. Ashley started making these incredibly serious and, as it turned out, unsubstantiated accusations against Doug. The first big sign of marital trouble was an incident where Doug fired a gun into the ceiling during an argument about Eva. Doug's close friend, Trip Cormany, said Doug later told him he did the dumbest thing I've ever done in my life, filled with regret. This incident happened just 2 days before their formal wedding reception with guests, highlighting the immediate cracks in their seemingly perfect facade. Then, the accusations escalated dramatically. Ashley claimed Doug was possessive and controlling. More shockingly, she accused him of trying to poison her and their unborn child. She even went to the police, claiming a birthday gift from Doug, a teapot and specialty tea for pregnant women, was hazardous materials. Tests confirmed it was just tea and no charges were filed. Her claims even extended to alleging Doug had poisoned his first wife, Renee, despite an autopsy confirming Renee died of an undiagnosed heart ailment. But Ashley was convinced. She even sent her hair to a lab for testing, which reported higher than normal levels of certain metals. Her belief was so strong that she took both herself and their baby Emerson for 26 consecutive days of hyperbaric chamber treatments to detox their bodies from alleged heavy metals. Can you imagine? Emerson was the youngest patient ever treated there. This all came to a head in a custody battle over Emerson, who was born in March 2018. Crucially, Ashley gave birth without notifying Doug, and for over a month, he didn't even know his daughter was born. Emerson's original birth certificate didn't list Doug as the father or bear his last name, showing Ashley's early intent to exclude him entirely. Ashley sought full custody, preventing Doug from seeing their child. But in a significant court ruling in September 2018, a judge famously stated there was not a single scintilla of credible evidence that Ashley or Emerson had been poisoned. Doug was granted joint custody. He was also completely cleared by authorities of any wrongdoing, and a psychologist found nothing wrong with this guy. He's not dangerous. Yet the accusations persisted. Doug himself eventually became so desperate that he accused Ashley of having a split personality in an email to the sheriff's office. And even after a period where they seemed to reconcile, spending the better part of 2019 appearing happy together, with Doug moving closer to them in Florida, Ashley was seen wearing an engagement ring from another man. Doug filed for divorce in November 2019. Then, Ashley made even severer, more unsubstantiated claims, including that Doug had sexually abused his own daughter, Eva. Again, authorities investigated and found no evidence and no charges were filed. Doug, astonishingly, still tried to reconcile, with friends noting he was still believing he can rescue and save and have a loving marriage after somebody says you're sexually abusing your daughter. It's a heartbreaking cycle. Then came the shattering final act. On September 27, 2020, they were supposedly packing up a U-Haul truck to move to Maryland for a fresh start, a last attempt at being a family. Ashley's mother, Alicia Byers, took Emerson for a walk to a neighborhood park, deliberately leaving Doug and Ashley alone in the house. Around 7 p.m., a neighbor heard screaming. Then, Ashley walked to that neighbor's house carrying a .45 caliber handgun and stated she shot Doug in self-defense. Doug was found shot twice, once in the leg and once in the arm, with the arm bullet traveling into his chest cavity. He died about an hour later in the hospital. Ashley was not arrested that night as detectives began their investigation. Ashley's defense argued she acted in self-defense, claiming Doug hit her in the head and lunged at her. Her lawyer even argued she suffered from battered woman syndrome. Ashley testified, describing past abusive behavior, including him punching the family dog so hard he knocked him out and holding a gun to his own head. A text from Doug's first wife, Renee, was also presented, describing alleged past abuse by Doug, including him kicking her and holding a gun to his head. However, under cross-examination, Ashley admitted that Doug had never punched you ever, correct? Yeah, I think that's correct. And never choked you ever? No. He never kicked you? No. Before the alleged incident on the night of the shooting. The prosecution, led by Suzanne O'Donnell, painted a starkly different picture. They argued Ashley's ultimate motive was to gain sole custody of Emerson. O'Donnell asserted that this mother was going to win at all costs, and the cost was the life of Doug Benefield, and that is murder. They presented a video from just a week before the shooting showing Doug, Ashley, and her mother laughing together, trying to show Ashley was not afraid of him. The medical examiner's testimony that Doug was shot in the side suggested he was turning away, not lunging at her, which contradicted Ashley's account. Detectives also noted that Doug had no guns or weapons on his person or near him, indicating she shot an unarmed man. After a tense trial during the summer of 2024, with nearly 7 hours of deliberation, the jury found Ashley guilty of manslaughter with a firearm, a lesser charge than second-degree murder. This verdict, as explained, means the jury didn't believe she pre-planned this, but we also don't think she was justified in doing it. It suggests a volatile, perhaps unstable or reactive act, rather than cold, calculated intent, which once again brings us back to that theme of mental instability from the Black Swan film. Now, the final chapter of this profound sadness is unfolding. In December 2024, Ashley was sentenced to 20 years in prison, followed by 10 years of probation. It's a truly heartbreaking outcome for everyone caught in this tragic orbit. For Doug, his life was cut short in such a violent, unnecessary way, caught in a relationship that descended into chaos. For Ashley, once a hopeful ballerina with grand dreams, her life has veered into a stark, painful reality behind prison bars. And then there's Eva, Doug's daughter. She's been so open about her grief, processing it publicly through her Eva the Freakin' Diva TikTok persona. She desperately longs for justice for her father and still holds on to the hope that one day she can connect with her half-sister Emerson and explain to her who her father was, to paint a picture beyond the accusations in the trial. And Emerson, the sweet, innocent child, just 6 years old, tragically caught in the middle of a story she can't possibly comprehend. She appeared outside the courthouse with her grandmother Alicia, who now has custody of her, supporting her mom, even telling a reporter she was standing up for the right thing. It just truly pulls at your heartstrings, doesn't it? Emerson's future, how she'll come to understand her family's past, remains a deep concern for Doug's family. This whole story is a stark, painful reminder of how grand aspirations can shatter against devastating realities, leaving so many lives touched by an undeniable, enduring sadness. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts. I'll see you in the next story.